Hello everyone. Today we are going to do chapter 16 light question and answers. So let's start with question number 1. Suppose you are in a dark room. Can you see objects in the room? Can you see objects outside the room? Explain. Answer. When we are in a dark room, then we cannot see objects in the room. We can see the objects outside the room because of the room the light is because out of the room the light is available and the rays of the light can enter our eyes after reflection from the objects. Differentiate between regular and diffuse reflection. Does diffuse reflection mean the failure of the laws of the reflection? Answer. Regular reflection. All the reflected rays are parallel. The reflected rays are not parallel. It occurs on a smooth and polished surface. Occurs on the rough surface. Reflected rays are in one direction. Reflected rays are scattered in different directions. No, diffuse reflection doesn't mean the failure of the laws of reflection. Question number 3. Mention against each of the following whether regular diffuse reflection will take place when a beam of light strikes. Justify your answer in each case. So the options are polished wooden table, chalk powder, cardboard surface, marble floor with water spread over it, mirror, and a piece of paper. Let's check out the answers. Reflection. Regular reflection will take place because the surface is plain and polished. Diffuse reflection will take place because the surface is rough. What was the third option? Cardboard surface. Diffuse reflection will take place because the surface is rough. Marble floor with water spread over it. Regular reflection will take place because the surface is smooth and plain. Fifth, mirror. Regular reflection will take place because the surface is plain and polished. And the sixth option is piece of paper. Diffuse reflection will take place because the surface is rough. State the laws of reflection. The laws of reflection are the incident, the normal, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Question number 5. Describe an activity to show that the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. Answer. The activity to show that the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. Materials required: plane mirror, holder, ray box, etc. Now, what is the procedure? Fix sheet of white paper a little beyond the edge of the board. Place a plain mirror strip vertically to the paper using a stand. Throw light from a ray box on the mirror. Look at the reflected ray. Mark the incident ray, normal ray, and the reflected ray. Fold the paper which is beyond the edge of the board. You will observe that the reflected ray is not seen in the folded portion of the chart paper. Now bring the folded portion back to its original position. The reflected ray of light is again seen on the page. Conclusion. The sheet of the board can be considered as a plane. The incident ray, the reflected ray, the normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. And this is the diagram that you can draw and show incident ray, reflected ray, and normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. Fill in the blanks in the following. Question number 6. A person 1 meter in front of a plane mirror seems to be dash meter away from his image. It's always double. The answer would be 2. Question number 2. If you touch your dash ear with the right hand in front of a plane mirror, it will be seen in the mirror that your right ear is touched with the. Now let's see. If you touch your left ear with the right hand in front of the plane mirror, it will be seen in the mirror that your right ear is touched with the left hand. You can actually go in the washroom or in your, if there's a mirror in your room, and you can actually do this experiment. The size of the pupil becomes dash when you see dim light. The size of the pupil becomes larger. Night birds have dash cones than rods in their eyes. Night birds have lesser cones than rods in their eyes. So it means we, like human beings, have more cones than rods in our eyes. Okay? So remember. Question number 7. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Options are always, sometimes, under special conditions, never. The answer is always. Okay, the angle of incidence, remember, is always equal to the angle of reflection provided the surface gets changed. यही लॉ ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन होता है कि एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस हमेशा एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन के बराबर ही होगा. ये लाइट का लॉ है. ये बात अलग है कि सरफेस अगर हम चेंज करते हैं फिर वो ये डिफरेंट होता है. अदरवाइज इट्स अ लॉ दैट द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज ऑलवेज इक्वल टू द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन. Question number 8. Image formed by a plane mirror is, options are virtual behind the mirror enlarged, B virtual behind the mirror and of the same size, number C real at the surface of the mirror and enlarged, and the option D is real behind the mirror and of the same size. The answer is virtual behind the mirror and of the same size of the object. The correct option is option B. Describe the construction of a kaleidoscope. Question number 9. The answer is, kaleidoscope is a device based on the principle of multiple reflections. It consists of three long and narrow strips of plane mirror inclined at an angle of 60 degree to one another, forming prism. This is fitted in a tube. One end of this tube is closed by a cardboard disc having a hole at its center. To the other end, touching the mirror's plain glass plate is fixed on which broken pieces of colored bangles are placed. This end of the tube is closed by a ground glass plate. तो ये क्या है? ये है these are the three mirror strips. Okay, ये इस तरफ और एक इस तरफ और एक नीचे में इस तरह से. ओके, व्हेन वी अटैच देम, उनको जोड़ देते हैं तो इट फॉर्म्स लाइक अ टनल. बीच में एक तो टनल की जैसा बन जाता है. और यहाँ पे कार्डबोर्ड एक तो ट्यूब लिया हुआ है. जब ट्यूब होता है ना, वो हम लोग एक ट्यूब्स जैसे कार्डबोर्ड का लंबा सा पाइप जैसा ट्यूब होता है वो लेते हैं और ये जो प्रिज्म है उसके अंदर डाल दिया है. ओके, अब जब डालने के बाद एक साइड को प्लेन मिरर डिस्क से बंद किया जाएगा और एक साइड को कार्डबोर्ड डिस्क से. ये वाला कार्डबोर्ड डिस्क होगा और नीचे में प्लेन मिरर डिस्क होगा और इसके अंदर हम क्या डाल देंगे? ब्रोकन पीसेस ऑफ कलर कलर बैंगल्स होते चूड़ी, कांच की चूड़ियाँ, उनके छोटे छोटे पीसेस. और यहाँ पे एक होल होगा ताकि हम इसके अंदर झांक कर देख सकें. ओके, draw a label sketch of the human eye. This is the label sketch of the human eye and it's also given in the NCERT book on page number 206. Okay, so you can draw like this. Now, question number 11. Gurmeet wanted to perform activity 16.8 using a laser torch. Her teacher advised her not to do so. Can you explain the basis of the teacher's advice? Teacher has advised Gurmeet not to do so because laser light is very harmful for her eyes and can cause permanent defect in the eye. Person can even lose his or her eyesight if laser torch is directed over the eyes. Question number 12. Explain, how can you take care of your eyes? Answer, eyes are very precious. We must take proper care of them. We must always sit straight while reading or writing. If advised, use special. Always sit straight while reading or writing. If advised, use suitable spectacles. Wash your eyes with clean water frequently. Do not look at the sun directly. Always read or write in a proper light. What is the angle of incidence of a ray if the reflected ray is at an angle of 90 degrees to the incident ray? Here the angle of reflection is 90 degrees. As we know, according to the laws of reflection, that the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Here the angle between the incident ray and the reflected ray is 90 degrees. That is angle of incidence plus angle of reflection is equal to 90 degree. As we already know, angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So we can very well write angle of incidence plus angle of incidence once again is equal to 90 degree. क्यों? क्योंकि एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन. सो यहाँ पे ये वाला जो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस है ना, ये वाला है ना जो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, वो ये वाला है. और ये वाला जो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस है वो इस वाले एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस को रिप्लेस कर रहा है, क्योंकि एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन. तो जब एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस और एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन दोनों सेम हैं तो हम लोग लिख सकते हैं एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज प्लस एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस. ओके, सो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस प्लस एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज 90 degree. Now there are two angle of incidences. Two angle incidence is equal to 90 degree, and only one angle of incidence is equal to 45 degree. So the angle of incidence would come as 45 degrees. तो आप लोग को ये समझ आ गया? देखिए, एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, क्योंकि ये दोनों एक बराबर होते हैं. Because we already know angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. तो यहाँ पे angle of incidence plus angle of reflection is equal to 90 degree. ओके, तो ये एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस हमने ऐसे ही लिख लिया, और इस एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन के बदले हमने वापस लिख लिया एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, और ये वाला जो 90 डिग्रीज था उसको एज इट इज लिख लिया, इज इक्वल टू 90 डिग्रीज. और दो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस है तो टू एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू 90 डिग्रीज. ओके, उसके बाद क्या किया हमने, टू एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू 90 डिग्रीज है, तो वन एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस इज इक्वल टू 90 बाय ए वाला ये जो टू है ये यहाँ आ जाएगा, ये मल्टीप्लाई होता है ना, तो ये इक्वल टू के उस तरफ जाके डिवाइड हो जाएगा. उसके बाद क्या होगा, सो angle of incidence is equal to 90 divided by 2, 90 degrees divided by 2, angle of incidence is equal to 45 degrees. तो इस तरह से हमारा ये वाला angle of incidence आया है. angle of incidence is equal to 45 degrees. Question number 14. How many images of a candle will be formed if it is placed between two parallel mirrors separated by 40 centimeter? Here, mirrors are placed parallel to each other, 40 centimeter apart. Therefore, the infinite number of images will be formed. Two mirrors meet at right angles. A ray of light is incident on one at an angle of 30 degrees. Over here like this, two mirrors. ये एक mirror है और ये एक दूसरा mirror है. Now they have been placed at an angle of 30 degrees. इनका जो angle है वो बन रहा है 30 degrees का. Now a light has been made to be incident on one at an angle of 30 degrees. Two mirrors right angles पे एक दूसरे को meet कर रहे हैं like this, and a ray of light is incident on them. Okay, ये right angle पे meet कर रहे हैं और a ray of light is incident on them. So now the question is, draw the reflected ray from the second mirror. Okay, so दिस इज द इंसिडेंट रे. इंसिडेंट मतलब यहाँ पे लाइट दिया गया है और वो लाइट का एंगल है 30 डिग्रीज. अब ये जो राइट है ये जाके दूसरे मिरर पे इंसिडेंट हो जाएगा, ये जो इसका इंसिडेंट रे अब ये दूसरे मिरर का बन गया रिफ्लेक्टेड रे, सॉरी ये रिफ्लेक्टेड रे दूसरे मिरर का बन गया इंसिडेंट रे, और ये वापस बन गया रिफ्लेक्टेड रे। तो अब ये 30 डिग्रीज पे आया, ये वापस 30 डिग्रीज पे चला गया, ओके, और फिर ये वापस यहाँ से 30 डिग्रीज पे निकल गया। सो दिस दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द diagram. This is how you will have to draw the various incidents rays. This is the incident ray, this is the reflected ray of this mirror. This reflected ray becomes the incident ray of this mirror, okay, over here. यहाँ पे इंसिडेंट हुआ, यहाँ से इंसिडेंट हुआ और ये वापस रिफ्लेक्ट होके बाहर की तरफ चला गया, ठीक है। तो आपको इस तरह से डायग्राम ड्रॉ करना पड़ेगा। Now let's move on to question number 16. Bozo stands at A, just on the side of a plane mirror, as shown is 16.21. Can he see himself in the mirror? Also, can he see the image of the object situated at P, Q and R? ओके, तो ये बोझो है, यहाँ पे खड़ा है, यहाँ पे ये ए पे खड़ा है एंड दिस इज द प्लेन मिरर, बट कैन ही सी हिम, अब ये क्या अपने आप को मिरर में देख पाएगा? और ऑल्सो कैन ही सी द इमेजेस, और ये तीन गो ऑब्जेक्ट्स है पी क्यू और आर, ओके। तो क्या ये पी क्यू और आर भी इस इमेज में सॉरी इस मिरर में इनका इमेज फॉर्म हो पाएगा? नेचुरल सी बात है, अगर बोझो का इमेज फॉर्म हो जाएगा तो इन तीनों का हो सकता है। और वो क्या देख पाएगा इन तीन इमेजेस को मिरर के अंदर? चलिए देखते हैं हम, ओके। No, Bozo can't see himself in the mirror. He can see the image of the object and P and Q, but not of that of the R. कि नहीं, लेकिन बोझो अपने आप को नहीं देख पाएगा, लेकिन वो क्या चीज़ देख पाएगा? वो P और Q का रिफ्लेक्शन मिरर में देख पाएगा, क्योंकि इनका जो वो जो रिफ्लेक्शन होता है, लॉज ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, ये तो सीधा मिरर के बाहर ही निकल गया, तो वो इमेज फॉर्म होगा ही नहीं। And guys, if you want to see the videos on English like It So Happened and Honeydew books, please visit our channel, and also on the Hindi question and answers and chapter reading, okay, like Baz or Saap and everything, okay. Thank you very much everyone.